What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Devy Royale in 5. So we're going to take 5 minutes-ish. I'm pretty bad on time, but talk about a player spotlight. So we did a lot of these in the beginning of the offseason, talking about transfers and everything that been going there. We're going to ramp it back up because the college football season's coming right now. And for this first one, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about running back Camar Wheaton. SMU obviously transferred to SMU, formerly at Alabama. Didn't get any playing time. Been some question marks about kind of what he is, who he is, and all that. So we're going to take a look at him. And as always on these Devy Royale and 5s, we're going to be looking at kind of his stats, his strengths, his weaknesses, what we should be doing with him in Devy, because actionable content matters. Anybody can come on here and tell you bye, or whatever the case may be, but like, why? What's his ADP? Where are you looking at for him? What is his value, right? That's, I think, the key is like, what is his value? Where does that come from? So we're going to be looking at him. We're going to be watching a little bit of highlights, a little bit of tape of him, and go through it. So if we take a look at what he did in high school. So last year, obviously, he didn't play at Alabama, but last year in high school when he played, he had 71 attempts, 603 yards, and 8 touchdowns. The one thing about him, even going through all of his high school film, tape, max preps, looking at stats, he's never been a high production guy. So we're going to talk about that as one of his weaknesses, but we haven't seen that. But what we have seen are the flashes. There's talent, there's ability. There's a reason why Alabama offered him and he went to Alabama. They don't just offer any guy. So, looking at production wise, you're not going to see that, but he did show flashes. He showed yards after attempt. You're going to see that in his film for what he can do. Let's go into his strengths. So top end speed, you're going to watch it on tape here in a minute. He's got top end speed. He talks about a 10.6 as a verified sophomore, in the 100, looking at that. He showed really good agility north-south wise too as well. Open field agility. He can make guys miss. And when you're talking about Camar Wheaton, he can make guys miss in the open field. He also has good short lateral quickness, especially at the line of scrimmage, which you like to see there. And you know what? He's a good north-south guy. He's going to one cut and go. I think he's got to work on that one cut ability. I didn't put it on as one of his strengths just because I do think that we have to see that development just based on his production, his tape. But north and south, this kid can get around the corner and go. I mean, he knows how to do that. He knows how to manipulate angles. So these are his strengths. Now, some of his weaknesses that we're going to talk about. Production, biggest thing for me when you watch him, he has not had that production. He went to Alabama, and for whatever reason, he didn't pan out. That's the other thing with the off-field issues. So there are question marks about if he loves football. I know that he thought it. There was an Alabama coach who went to Oklahoma. They were looking maybe at the running back transfer portal, and they said, "Hey, you don't really want this kid." And so there's been question marks and red flags about that. I don't like to go over that because these are kids at a troubling time. It's hard right now, especially with that. So the biggest, I think, concerns with this is, does he love football? Now, talent is there. So talent aside, it's there. Production off-field issues, can he right that ship? And now, as always, with all these kids at this age, we hope they can, right? And then pass catching was limited. Now, you'll see some of the tape. He catches screens and does those type of things, but he's more of a Nick Chubb era runner. Like, hey, going to get the ball downfield. I think he can catch the ball. I don't think he's ever going to be that PPR guy that we're looking for in PPR. That's okay. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing for Devy. It's just something that you have to understand that he's a first and second down guy, possibly not a third round guy. So if we watch his tape, and we're kind of going over what we see from him, you're going to see it in high school. I mean, this is what we're talking about north-south. If he's able to get to the edge, he's going to beat the defenders. And I think that's where you see. And then you see that breakaway speed, right? So when we see talent with him, he has that short, lateral quickness. You'll see it here again. I love this run from him because it really kind of puts all of his talents on display. You'll see it here. No hole where he's supposed to go, able to cut back. Then he's able to use his agility and his speed, burst through the hole. That's what you see when you see tape. You're like, shit, popped off. Like, that's the type of runner that we see here. He's going to score the touchdown. Those are the exciting things about him. I mean, he's able to manipulate the angles really well, and you'll see that. So he does have that one cut ability, and his lateral quickness and his agility is out there too. So when you're looking at Camar, like, these are the things that you like, right? Outside the weaknesses that we just talked about, as a runner, I don't see a ton of weaknesses. Like, when you watch him, he's a great north-south guy. You can see why Alabama wanted him. He fits their kind of system, and he fits that ability. Kind of when we were talking about guys that they've had, Brian Robinson, Trey Sermon, those type of guys, he does that well. He reads his blocks really well, and he has that speed and that athleticism. Now, you're going to see it here. I mean, this is pretty much the what he does in the passing game. You're going to see screens. You're going to see those type of things. They use them in different ways. They're going to use them on special teams. They're going to use them here. You'll see them on the kickoff return. Like, the things that you see here is what pops off for me as a fan of his. It's not the talent that worries me. It's the other stuff, right? So I think that's the key. Can he kind of can he get over that off-field angles, off-field issues, off-field things that we've seen from him? He's going to be a red zone guy. He's going to score touchdowns. You'll see it here. He did this in high school. Like, these are the things that Camar does. Now, what are we doing with him and Devy? So the biggest thing for me, I think he's a buy. Like, if I'm going to look at him and I'm going to talk about Camar, I think he's a risky buy. Talking about where he's at right now. So if we look at SMU's roster, so as we're going over this, they needed, they have basically a new coaching staff coming in there. Rhett Lashley, He runs the air raid, yes, but he does, as you've seen in Miami with Knighton and those guys, he can get them involved in the rushing attack. So when we're talking about Camar, I mean, he is in line for running back one status. They have Trey Siggers there, who's a graduate transfer, Tyler Levine, and then Camar right now. But Camar, I really think, based on his talent, freshman coming in, he could literally take control of this offense and be in there. Now, what is the production going to look like in that air raid? I don't know. Like, when we're talking about him overall, I'm not sure kind of where he's going to fit, but he can produce. And I think he could be that good change of pace back for this offense that probably is going to be heavy pass, but he has the talent to break that. Now, where's he going in ADP, just so you guys kind of know? And remember, Devy ADP is so... You got to be careful with Devy ADP because there's so much out there with it. I mean, it really depends on the league. Somebody might like Camar. Camar in a recent mock that we're going to go over tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. I believe he went in the second or third round. I think he went in the third round of a Devy mock. That's a little early based on the numbers, but on different ADP sites as you look, I mean, running back 40, okay, rounds 11 and 12. If your Devy is that deep, that's kind of where he's going. That's okay for me. Like, he should be going ahead of guys like Raleek Brown, which he is not, right? Eric Gray. I would take a shot on Camar Wheaton over Eric Gray just based on talent alone. Like, I know he's a group of 5 guy, but he was at Alabama. So, okay, again, remember, concepts rises there. But guys like Jalen Berger are going ahead of him. I don't understand why, because Camar shows so much upside from the draft position that he's at. So that's kind of where I'm at with Camar. I think he's all the talent in the world. He has he can go in there, step in, produce, be that guy in the SMU offense. Can he do it mentally? I think that's the key. Can he show maturity and have that mental area? Because the talent is there. So just to reiterate, this is Camar Wheaton, Devy Round 5 going to SMU. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you like this, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll be doing these all week. Okay, we're going to be looking at these guys. We're going to be doing some mock draft stuff on the channel. We're going through some this or that questions there. If you like what you see, please, we have a Patreon, $3 a month, tons of content, tons of stuff, mailbags. We're going to do all kinds of there. Please check us out. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.